are so many topics that I could choose from this afternoon. Keith Olbermann is once again being Keith Olbermann, starting a fight that he can't finish. He tried to pick a fight on Twitter with Dana Lash. That's what beta males who have never had success with women do. They pick fights with women on social media. Dana Lash immediately shut the world's most miserable fuck down, and Keith Olbermann grabbed his cucumber and relocated to the back corner of his cardboard box house. Keith Olbermann is such an irrelevant piece of shit, so I just decided to pass on that story. We have Major League Baseball once again proving they are completely out of touch with their core fan base. I know I have a lot of baseball purists in my audience. I see your emails. Anytime I touch on Major League Baseball, I receive a flurry of emails talking about how great the sport used to be. Keywords, used to be. Rob Manfred is actively destroying Major League Baseball. Earlier today, an internal memo from Rob Manfred was released condemning Major League teams for having inadequate restroom facilities for women. Apparently, a woman complained about a dirty bathroom. Hell, I don't know. I looked into the story for a bit, I got bored with it and moved on. The NBA. They continue to wipe out all the goodwill they have built with the casual fan during the playoffs by continuing to use the playoffs to push for gun control. The Golden State Warriors, they replicated what the Miami Heat did, what was that, Wednesday or Thursday night? Well, anyway, the Warriors replicated it. There's a lot of news going on right now, but I thought that this story on Bill Maher was the most relevant. While I was at lunch today, I was reading the New York Post. I came across the headline, "Left-wing critics say Bill Maher should be canceled over LGBT comments." When I saw the headline, I immediately knew they were talking about his commentary from last Friday night. I watch Bill Maher on a regular basis. He represents what the Democrat Party used to be. When I was growing up, Democrats appealed to the younger generation. They were considered the cool parents, while Republicans were the fun police. They wanted to ban everything. The roles have completely reversed. The modern Democratic Party is filled with freaks and weirdos. It's filled with people swinging their dick around claiming to be a woman. Modern Democrats have become the fun police. They want to take away all your freedom. David Kilmnick is the founder of the LGBT network. He has been a gay rights activist for over 30 years. Now, I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again because I think I speak for most people when I say this. The vast majority of adults don't give a shit about your sexual preference. The guy that cuts my hair, he's so gay his name might as well be Gay Gayerson. But he's a cool dude. We joke around the entire time that I'm there. We're similar in a lot of ways, except he prefers kissing a face with a mustache on it. Most adults don't give a shit about the sexual preference of other adults. The problem most people have with the LGBT movement, many gay and trans people, they have a problem with this as well. The problem most people have with the LGBT movement, they're poisoning the minds of kids. If I was your daughter's teacher and I suggested that she should get a boob job, you would have me arrested. If you had a young son and I suggested that he get a penis pump, you would have me arrested. So how come it's different when a teacher suggests to your young son that he's really a fucking girl? Last Friday night, Bill Maher, he talked about the trendiness among American youth to be included in the LGBT movement. Hell, he basically said the same thing that we've been saying here on the channel for months now. Earlier this week, I said this was a fad. I compared teenagers wanting to be non-binary or transgender to teenagers in the 60s wanting to be hippies, or those of us who grew up in the 90s wanting to be grunge or sag our pants. It was just a fad. Young people tend to gravitate towards the trend that pisses their parents off the most. And nothing pisses parents off more than young David coming home and telling his dad, "I want to be called Dana." If I had come home at 15 years old and told my dad to call me Chrissy instead of KC, he would have told me to call an ambulance because he would have beat the shit out of me. You didn't have to worry about me growing up to be a woman because my dad wouldn't put up with that bullshit. Last Friday night, Bill Maher was talking about the trendiness of being LGBT among American youth. I'm going to play a clip of just a little bit of his commentary. Hopefully I don't get hit with a copyright strike. HBO, they've been pretty good in the past allowing me to use portions of their material. Hopefully that'll be the case today. Check out a little bit of what Bill Maher said last Friday night. Roll the film.
And finally, new rule: if something about the human race is changing at a previously unprecedented rate, we have to at least discuss it. Broken down over time, the LGBT population of America seems to be roughly doubling every generation. According to a recent Gallup poll, less than 1% of Americans born before 1946, that's Joe Biden's generation, identify that way. 2.6% of boomers do, 4.2% of Gen X, 10.5% of millennials, and 20.8% of Gen Z. Which means if we follow this trajectory, we will all be gay in 2054.
We've seen the number of people involved in the LGBT community spike since 1980. Why? It's not by accident. The decaying of society, this is a well-orchestrated plan that's been in motion for decades. Started in the 1960s with Aleister Crowley's influence on rock music. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. You had the sexual revolution, which led to the rise in feminism, which led to the rise of the gay movement in the 1970s. Suddenly in the 1980s, the numbers doubled. 90s and 2000s, being gay became more accepted, numbers doubled. Today, we have 20% of American youth claiming to identify as one of the many fucking letters in the alphabet. It at least begs the question, what the fuck's going on here? I mean, isn't that a logical question to ask? Did you think there was anything anti-LGBT that Bill Maher said? If everyone is gay in 30 years, mankind ceases to exist. According to David Kilmnick, Bill Maher is an anti-gay asshole, and he must be canceled. The founder of the LGBT network, he is pressuring HBO to cancel Bill Maher. Now, 5 years ago, I would write this off as being laughable and say it would never happen. Bill Maher has the highest rated show on HBO. There's no fucking way they're going to cancel him. But in 2022, you just never know. This is the same network who just renewed Bomani Jones for a second season, when it took him combining 2 episodes to draw 100,000 viewers. I would like to think HBO wouldn't cancel Bill Maher, but these major corporations, they are scared to stand up and fight the bullshit. I'm going to share with you some of the propaganda that David Kilmnick wrote in his article on The Advocate, just to show you how delusional this guy is. He claims Bill Maher's commentary is taking us back to 1993. I mean, I hope so. I don't know about you guys, but I would be thrilled if society went back to 1993. Back then, parents were praised for disciplining their child. Today, they're arrested for it. David Kilmnick claims there is an onslaught of attacks by the government and the media on my fellow lovers of cucumber sex. This guy's either knowingly lying or he's just a stupid fuck. What he's trying to do here is play the victim card. Please feel sorry for us. We are ostracized and bullied. If anyone's brave enough to speak out against some non-binary shitfuck who wants to teach your child how to properly insert the broom handle, the media crucifies them. They push for him to be canceled, just like David Kilmnick is pressuring HBO to cancel Bill Maher. He claims the government is anti-LGBT because Ron DeSantis passed what they keep calling the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. But the bill's not anti-gay. It's anti-teaching young children about sex. Straight sex, gay sex, non-binary broom sex, transgender giraffe sex, gender-void mushroom sex, all sex. Parents don't want some woke dumbass teaching their 6-year-old how to have sex and how to choose one of the 53 mythical genders. David Kilmnick then goes to blame Bill Maher for the over 50% of LGBT youth who consider suicide every year. How many teenagers do you know that watch Bill Maher on a Friday night? Did you ever think maybe the high suicide rate among LGBT youth has to do with the fact that they're confused? They don't know who or what they are? Being a teenager is already confusing enough. Your body's changing, your mind is changing. Now you're wanting to force these kids, going through all these changes, you're wanting to force them to choose their gender and their sexuality at 13 years old. Is it any wonder why they're so confused? Gender's the easiest choice that we have. It's already been decided for us. Contrary to non-binary belief, there is no choice in gender. You're either a dude or you're a woman. It's that simple. I don't need a fucking biologist from Woke U to explain it for me. Both Finland and Sweden, they have made it illegal for doctors to prescribe puberty and hormone blockers to children. Reason being, they don't know the long-term effects blocking these natural chemicals will have on the development of a child. But the truth is, you shouldn't need a medical reason. It's just common sense. Why are you trying to fuck with nature? Somehow, mankind has figured out a way to survive thousands of years without the need to change gender. According to Transgender Trend, 80% of children diagnosed with what doctors at Woke U call gender dysphoria. Gender dysphoria. Just an FYI, the term gender dysphoria is contrived bullshit. You know what we used to call gender dysphoria? Experimentation. It's what kids do. They experiment. They try new styles. They try alcohol. They try drugs. Some young women go through phases where they're attracted to other women. It's called growing up. But 80% of children who think they want to change their gender end up changing their mind. You know what? I kind of like my penis. I think I'll keep it. The reason that we are seeing a drastic increase in kids identifying as LGBT is because that's what the mainstream media is promoting. It's promoted in Hollywood, it's promoted in music, it's promoted on television, it's all over social media. I know I don't have kids. I know it's easier said than done, but I like to think if I had a kid, there's no fucking way that I would allow it to be on social media. No Facebook, no Instagram, damn sure no TikTok. TikTok's become worse than Twitter. There is nothing on TikTok but a bunch of confused fucks leading other confused fucks down the path of no return. In the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. It's real simple to manipulate the blind, which in this case is children. Kids, they're easily influenced. They're easily manipulated. They want to belong. When everyone at school's pretending to be transgender, they're going to pretend to be transgender too. This entire movement is 100% manufactured and created. This is by design, and it's being sold by the mainstream media and pop culture to kids. But let me know what you think. Bill Maher could become the latest victim of cancel culture. And all my parents out there, I'm actually curious to know, do you allow your kids to be on social media? Sound off in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe, click the notification bell to receive all notifications from the channel. Best way to contact me is by email at btlkc84@gmail.com, kc_BTL84 on Twitter. I'll see you guys tomorrow.